Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/Tales from Retail. And let's move to our first warming up story. We're closed. If there isn't a subreddit called We're Closed, Ma'am, then there really should be. One night when we were closed, not closing, but closed, we had sent out the please take your items to the register and pay for your purchases page about half an hour ago, turned off the lights, turned off the music, done our walkthrough to check for any customers, pulled the shutters down, and had our coats on. Our walkthrough is very thorough, so I have no idea where this woman was hiding, but I looked back at the registers as I was zipping up my coat, and someone was unloading their effing groceries on the till. This was about 10 minutes after the lights went off. The store was quite literally pitch black, save for a few emergency lights, so I have no effing idea how she didn't get the hint. Me and my supervisor walked up to her, and the following exchange happened. Supervisor: ma'am, we closed about 20 minutes ago. You're going to have to leave. What? Well, why didn't anyone tell me? We did a page. We turned off the lights. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's no way I can ring you through. Well, this is just horrible customer service. How am I supposed to feed my family? Maybe you don't do your shopping at 10 p.m.? Supervisor: well, I'm sorry, you can come back tomorrow, but we really have to lock up now. Whatever, I'll finish my shopping elsewhere. Then she walked up to the automatic doors that have big steel shutters over them and started waving her effing arms for them to open. We ended up having to escort her out through the employee exit and spend another 10 minutes putting all her effing groceries back. I don't get how this happens. I feel guilty about going anywhere even 30 minutes to an hour before they close. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Adventures in Owning a Restaurant, Part 1. The Hagraven. For a few years, my dad and I had our own pizza place in the middle of nowhere, Midwest. Working with my dad was nice enough. The guy looks like Tom Selleck and never stops making boner jokes, so we had fun. What you need to know about our town is that, holy crap, we had factories out the butt. An entire stretch of highway leading to our most traveled interstate is nothing but factories, which employed almost half the town. We also had a lot of problems with meth. Well, not me personally, except this one time. Our operation was small and simple, a walk-in joint where you just carry your food out. The kitchen was simple and streamlined, so 2 or 3 people could crank out 200 handmade pizzas in a couple hours. And we were proud of our food, by God. It's some damn tasty pizza. Cheese on top, or your pizza's a joke. Now, with a town of our size, we're bound to start making some regulars, and we did. Most of our regulars were generally cool people, like the 90-year-old guy who just peeked his head in the door and pointed. We always knew exactly what the cheeky old bastard wanted. I can call him that. I counted as pennies. Then we have these MFers. Local legend told us that this particular family moved into the area in the late 1800s and immediately made the place into a crappy bog. The youngest descendants of these groin-punchingly stupid settlers I prefer to call simply the inbreds, because it's a brother and sister combo and their son with a face like a half-melted Yankee candle. You read that right, buddy. Now, the matriarch is a screeching harpy of a woman who always wore jean skirts and hair like a gray-beaten Danny Sexbang wig. You ever play Skyrim? She's a Hagraven. I shall refer to her from here on out as Hag. The phone rings, lunches began, the skalds will sing of this day. Moi. A place of heavenly pizza and divine sauces from the generous hand of the autumn dragons. What can I make for you? Hag. Yeah, I want cheese. I'm guessing that's a cheese pizza? I know who the F this is. The caller ID lights up my face, and I slowly turn to my father, dead-eyed and teeth slowly gritting. His mustache twinges. So, what size do you want? Large. Okay, cool. And I want it party cut. I don't know what the F that means, but I'll make it work. Just please, God, get the horrible screeching voice out of my head. Still me, brain slowly squishing from the pressure of her mighty condemned-esque powers. Ha, spoilers. Okay, no problem, and I want pepperoni. Okay, but with sausage on half. All right, and cheese on it. No problem. And sausage on the other half. Oh, and there's a nacho cheese in the box. A second passes. Another second. All right, and pepperoni. We wrap it up. She gives me her phone number for some reason, and I tell her it'll be 15 minutes. We get maybe halfway through the second pizza, which was about 4 minutes, and she's there. I think she was there the whole time. I don't know if she ever left. She effing nightcrawlered me. You better have that party cut. Ugh. So we sorted out, and she stands right at the window staring at us unblinkingly. I think she was smelling us, too. My dad and I continued our conversation as if she wasn't there, and when the time to box them up and hand them over, she didn't have any money. She walks to the door, opens it, throws her head back, and screams into the parking lot, "Jimmy Hog, gimme purse out your trek." It could have been English. It could have been curses in the tongue of the first men of the world. It could have been Cain's final words to Abel. But I do know that it echoed in the stillness of the parking lot and eventually settled into the sky to watch over the town with hateful, unblinking eyes. Her son, a man unable to speak, handed her her purse, and she walked back in to pay us for those cheesy monsters. Well, with the discount, it'll be $21.71. I ain't paying that. A raggedy hand of leathery flesh slaps against the counter with all the haunting images of a butcher's abattoir fluttering into my skull. It's at least $3 cheaper than the last time you came in. I'm even giving you a topping for free. It ain't a topping, 'cause the cheese is on top, stupid. If you want to have that debate, sure. It'll be another $4. I want to talk to your manager. I've made sure since you tried to return a 3-day-old pizza last week that you ate all but the crust of. Oh yeah, she's a special lady. You better shut your mouth. Just pay me. Pay me for your food like a real person and go home. That's where you eat the food or feed the people in your basement before you eat them, I guess. My dad is losing it. I took a hiatus of a few years after deploying to Iraq, and it seemed like he was pretty happy to have me back as he struggled not to laugh out loud. Fine, but you better not sass me next time. Me, the guy with a Bender tattoo on his butt. Just pay and get out. And if you call back one more time to try and scam us out of free food, I'm putting your picture on the door and you'll never be allowed back in. She handed me the money. Well, handed is being generous. She took a 20 and a 5 into her leathery claws and balled them up so she could drop them on the counter and spat on the floor. Yes, she spat on the floor. And it was black. My dad started laughing through his mustache and we got back to work. Then his back stiffened about 2 hours later. He looked into the air, eyes searching for the sudden maleficent presence. The warning beacons of Gondor were lit. The horses became frightened. Somewhere a dragon's bones began to stir. The phone rang. Me. International presidents of pizza and also rock and roll, how can... You put sausage on my pizza. I didn't want no sausage. You better give me a new pizza. I'm driving... Shh. Calm down. Are you listening? What? Are you listening to me? This is important. Yeah. Nope. What? Nope. Not doing it. Don't bother calling back. We're done feeding you. You can try chain pizza place we've shut down 3 times. Just because they'll probably take your crap, for a while anyway. Then I hung up the phone. For every pizza she paid for, she got one for free. Until that day, an eagle screams. I get the retail struggles after years of going from place to place and even dealing with dangerous stupidity in the Army. When I finally returned to ownership with my dad, holy F on sale. It was the most cathartic experience to tell rude customers to suck it and get out. And our next story. Dragon customer doesn't understand how restraining orders work. I got my first real job when I was 14 in the deli section of a local supermarket. To explain this story, I need to add a bit of background. My little sister was being brutally bullied at school by this girl who would follow her home, taunting her. She lived nowhere near us, so why she was putting in so much effort was anyone's guess. One particularly lovely day, my sister was walking around with her friend when the bullying started. And feeling brave with her friend by her side, she swung around and ripped the girl back by her hair and punched her in the face. 5 points to Gryffindor. The little pig went wee 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 all the way home and cried wolf to her mother, who set a restraining order against my sister. Apparently not realizing how these things work, but to keep you in the loop, it works both ways. Neither party or second parties, including friends and family, are allowed any contact with the other party or their second parties. So here I am, 14 years old me, working in the deli when this dragon, mother of the girl who was bullying my sister, waltzes up to the counter. Knowing I can't legally interact with her, I step back and quietly ask my colleague to serve her. But no, she wasn't here for ham, she was here for beef. So Dragon Lady starts screaming that, "How dare you refuse to serve me?" and pulls the old, "I would like to speak to your manager" card. Here comes Mr. Bossman. He asks the situation from her, and she tells him her horror story about how I rudely refused service and left her standing, waiting like a fool. My colleague stands there with a dumbfounded, "Am I invisible?" look on her face. The boss man turns to me and asks if it's true, and I say, as clearly and factually as possible, yes, my colleague was willing to serve her, though. Legally, I can't serve this woman due to a restraining order she has against my 9-year-old sister. Everyone looked shocked. Mr. Bossman calmly turns to the dragon lady and asks if this is true. She stumbles over her argument for a second, that the restraining order has nothing to do with anything. But Mr. Bossman is not a stupid man. He's been in the customer service game a long time, and he's watched our reactions, and he knows an attention seeker when he sees one. He calmly turns back to this woman and says, "You are knowingly harassing my staff. You are no longer a welcome customer of this store. And if you choose to return, you will have a restraining order set against you by name of the supermarket." She did, of course, come back, and as promised, Mr. Bossman took her to court. As a side note, my sister ended up having her order lifted by the court as the girl continued to follow her home and harass her, breaching the order on at least 4 occasions. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.